Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Becoming Undefined. I'm MJ Acosta Ruiz, and this is my first solo episode. So what I wanted to do is for us to get to know each other a little better, right? Like, this is all en familia, entre nosotros. So the first thing I thought of is when I have a guest on, we have a mini Cafecito conversation, but we're cozy. I have my cafecito, so let's do this. It's a cafecito conversation for all. So you know there's really coffee. I made sure I put the clear straw. So for those of you who are new here, again, my name is MJ Acosta Ruiz, and I predominantly work in the sports space. I cover the NFL mostly for ESPN and for NFL Network, but I have covered it all throughout my career. I have been a breaking news anchor. I have been a traffic anchor and reporter. I have been a general assignment news reporter out in the streets of Miami at 4 a.m, trying to put on eyelashes in a news truck on the way to a crime scene. I've pretty much touched every part of this industry. I have been a producer, an editor, an intern, a PA, you name it, I've done it over the course of 15 plus years. Not to age myself, but your girl is 40 and she is thriving now. But that's exactly why I wanted to start these conversations and why the name Becoming Undefined was so important for me. So let's get into it. I actually had a moment on social media, which I don't do often, but I did do a bit of an ask me anything. You can ask me anything. That doesn't mean I'm going to answer everything, to be clear. So let's start with an ask me anything version of Becoming Undefined. Okay, so this first question says, if you could do anything else other than broadcast, what would it be? That's an easy answer for me. I've been a dancer my entire life. I started a little later in the game. For those who are dancers, they know what I'm talking about. About 9 years old was when I walked into my first ballet class and absolutely fell in love with the art and never looked back from there. So I danced all the way through college. I was a hurricaneette for the University of Miami, go Canes. Then danced professionally with several Latin music artists. I went on tour. My girlies in the 305 who danced alongside me know exactly what that grind was like back in the day. And then I danced professionally as an NFL cheerleader for the Miami Dolphins. And that was right around the same time when I started really getting deep into the early years of my career as a reporter as well. So it was an interesting duality to my life at the time where I could do both of the things that I really loved. But without question, I would continue my pursuit of dance. Actually, when I started college, before I dropped out of college, before going back into college and finishing as a journalist, I was a business major, double major, business and dance, because I wanted to open my own dance studio and make sure that there was availability for the kids who couldn't afford it, like I was growing up, to put together scholarships for kids who just naturally love the arts, and it wasn't readily available to them. So that's still something I want to pursue. But yeah, if I wasn't doing broadcasts, absolutely all in. I don't know that I would be at a Dance Moms level, if you know what I'm talking about, but I definitely would be wanting to help the kids who just want to express themselves in a different medium. All right, next question. What is the skincare routine? Thank you. Part of it is being Latina. The genes are gening. That helps a lot. If you look at my mother, and I won't say her age because she'll kill me, but she looks good. But honestly, I am obsessed. So my grandma, mi abuela, Maria Altagracia, up until I think probably right before she passed, she was using Pond's. Do you guys remember Pond's? They still sell Pond's, I'm pretty sure, at at your local pharmacy. But that woman would slather it all over her face. My mom was a little bit more elevated, a little bit more bougie. I get it from her. She was using a lot of Estee Lauder and like Clinique, Lancome, like those inside of the department store brands. But she always had something beautiful on her face, something that smelled really nice. Like I can smell her right now if I just close my eyes. I remember her nighttime routine. So that came over to me. Very simple. We're not going to overdo it. You're going to cleanse. You're going to tone. You're going to use a serum and a moisturizer. Same thing in the morning, except add sunscreen. Boom. Oh, and eye cream. Ooh, eye cream, child. Very important. I get facials obviously because I'm usually in a full face of makeup, and never, please don't go to sleep with your makeup on. If you do, that's on you. Okay. I have best friends who do it, and I'm in awe that they don't have any breakouts. I'm not that girl. Okay. That's not my life. That's not my story. Take your makeup off. Trust me, you'll feel better. You'll sleep better. Okay. Favorite thing to do in the off season. And I'm using air quotes because there is no such thing as the off season. If you're in sports, like your life just revolves around the schedule, but there's two ends of the spectrum. One is to just crash out on my couch, not do anything, me, the dog, and binging some kind of vapid, very shallow entertainment, probably a reality show. Like, I just want to disassociate. And I think you need that too for balance in your life. And then the other side of it is travel. Travel to me, if you are blessed enough to be able to do so, is the best education and the best experience you can have because it opens you up to an entire literal world, to different cultures, to different experiences, to different human experiences and perspectives. So I always pad in. Shout out to one of my besties, Janice, who is our friend group itinerary maker. She's doing the Lord's work. I sent her how much I need to send her on Venmo. She's got the whole plan out. Here are the flights. Here's where we're staying. Here's what we're doing. And I love that for her. But yes, travel. And then on the other side, just sit down somewhere. That's my off-season plan. Okay. Ooh, this one's interesting. Tips for newlyweds who work in the business. All right, here we go. I'm assuming you mean the entertainment business and the entertainment industry. Okay. So here's the thing. I have been married going on 5 years, but my husband and I have been together for almost 13 years. Okay. So he has been with me in this journey, if you will, at every step. My biggest advocate, my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, my biggest protector, and just somebody who gets it, right? He is a unicorn, ladies. I'm not saying there's not others, but like, it's hard to find. It really is. But I think one of the main things that has worked for us, one, my husband has no social media. Oh, what a blessing. What a blessing. There's no posts, there's no selfies, there's nothing. He's a ghost. And I love that for me. And for him, but mostly for me. It's a lot. It's overstimulation already having someone in your life who is a public figure, who is constantly on. He is the perfect balance for me, I would say. But I know a lot of couples who are both on-air personalities. And I think that there's a lot to say about that because you inherently understand, oh man, they just had a tough day. They couldn't get the interview. Their boss was tripping. They didn't make slot. They just got some bad, feedback on social media. Somebody's bullying them. There's a million different things, right? So the tips I would say are, I think, tips that work for every couple and every relationship. It's communication, trust above all, and something that I'm still working on in therapy is patience. Patience and remembering that it's not all about you. It's not all about you. This is a partnership. You have to make concessions. There will be compromises. You're not always going to get what you want. As a Scorpio girly, that is a very hard thing to digest. But you have to work at it too. And I think if you're a younger couple now, I don't know how you do it with the overstimulation of apps and social and all of these things. Put that stuff aside and remember that y'all are on the same team. You got to be on the same team of one. Okay. That's my best advice for you. We're all learning. We're all trying to get through this together. Oh, how is Gunny doing? He's fine. Gunny. He's paying me no mind right now because he has a bully stick. By the way, his dog sitter got him that bully stick. We'll show you Gunny in a little bit. That is the iPad equivalent for dogs. I don't judge. I don't have children, so I don't judge parents. If you're giving your kids screen time, go ahead. I get it. You probably need a minute. It's hard. But the same level of like concentration that a child will get on a screen, that's what the bully stick does for Gunny. And I can get so much done around the house. So that's what he's doing right now while we're filming so that Mama can have a clear set. I do miss him next to me though. So I'm going to probably pull him against his will in a second. Okay. I get this one a lot. Biggest piece of advice to your younger self. So what's funny? is that lately I've been trying to tap into my younger self. What would she tell me? Because I think that along the way throughout my career, I've lost some of that fearlessness that I had in my 20s, for example, in my early 20s, where you couldn't tell me shit. You can tell me nothing. Oh, there's an audition, we're rolling up. Oh, why wouldn't they pick me for this? Right. And even if they didn't, it stung a little less than it does now. I think it has a lot to do with having less to lose at that point, where I have built so much and now the stakes are so high for me at this level in my career and in my life that I overthink way more than I did when I was younger. So I think there's something to be said about taking advice from our younger selves as opposed to trying to reshape who we were back then. I think we can glean a lot going back a couple of decades. Not everything, because your girl was a mess too back then. But I had this like resolute fearlessness that I remember. And I still have that. That's still me. I mean, I created this whole show by myself with an amazing team around me. But like, you couldn't tell me that I couldn't do this. But it took a long time for me to pick that back up. I felt like I did lose it for a while. So I don't know that I would tell her anything other than take your makeup off before you go to bed. See, it all comes back to the skincare routine. All right. What's your biggest motivator? Can I be honest? Financial security. Let's just be real. I grew up very, very humble beginnings. We had a government assistant. It was, I'm the eldest daughter of immigrants, and my parents worked their asses off, but we struggled a lot. And as the oldest daughter, I was acutely aware of the sacrifices they were making, of when we didn't have enough, of when they were stretching stuff out to make it look like we had enough and to make sure that all the mouths were fed. And I think to this day, my parents are still working their asses off. And they gave up incredible status and like careers that they had earned in Dominican Republic to come here. And my dad was a doctor in Dominican Republic. And his first job in the United States was cleaning up dog shit at a factory. This was a story I learned just a few years ago. And while it didn't shock me because we know how the system is designed, what didn't shock me about it was how quickly he was willing to do that in order to provide just the chance that I could do better and that my siblings could do better, right? So for me, not only are my parents the biggest motivator, financial security is a big motivator, and they're now in retirement, which I'm like, now I feel like I'm behind. I'm like, damn, they're already there, and I haven't gotten to the point where I can tell them, like, you don't have to worry about anything. That's still a motivator for me. And I think that they're still a part of me, although I've achieved things and reached a level in a socioeconomic status that I could have never have imagined even 20 years ago. I still feel like it could all be gone in a second. I know it won't be because I've learned better. I've really educated myself, become more financially literate, which is not something that's readily available in Black and brown communities. So I know I've done better to set myself up for that, but I still have that little fear in me, and I don't ever want to lose that. So yeah, and world peace for sure. Okay, and all right, one more, and this one comes from my dear friend and makeup artist. What would you say to someone who wants to do what you do? Okay, Miss Lisa, who brought this question. Are you about this life? Are you about this life? It's taken me all of my adulthood to get to this level. And I think people just see the tip of the iceberg, but they don't see the rest of like the mass of challenges that you have to go through and continue to go through. So I work in sports in particular. So that means I work every weekend. I work every holiday. I have missed funerals. I have missed birthdays, including my own. I've missed weddings, more than I can count, special moments, births, all because I knew that was the price of entry. And I think there's a lot to be said about that and some of the things that need to change within the industry, but also the schedule is the schedule. So if I wanted to work in the sports landscape, if I wanted to work specifically with the NFL and the NBA and the MLB, I knew that that's what was going to be required of me. I can't just not be available when the games are going on, when the coverage is happening, right? So you have to inherently know that you're going to have to give up that side of it. But I get to have access to and be part of some of the most incredible moments in history, not just sports history, but our history, right? And to experience it in a way that 99.999% of people never will. And I don't take that for granted. And so for me, that continues to keep me grounded, to know that like I can FaceTime my dad and say, holy crap, your favorite player is standing right in front of me. He may not be able to experience that in that moment, but he does through me. And that's how I feel about every single person who watches our coverage. I am the eyes and ears for all of these people. So every single person is my family member. It's my responsibility to do that. So while, yeah, I'm bummed that I'm not there for Christmas and, you know, I might be on a flight on New Year's Eve, or I'm stuck in an airport or a tiny town hotel on my birthday, I remember the bigger picture. It's not easy always, but for me, it is worth it. So the best thing I can say to you is a question. Are you about this life? And then decide from there. And if you're not, that's totally fine. You can reimagine it to fit you. But just know, right, Gunny? See, there's Gunny. He's never too far. Come here. He felt like I was getting too deep. And so he kind of wanted to lighten the load. But he's thriving. He's doing great. Okay. So those are all the questions. Some of them were inappropriate, and you already know they were inappropriate questions. And they asked me anything, so we're not going there. All right? Nice try, though. Never going to happen. But on the other side of this, we will get into a little bit more of how I've learned to maintain some kind of balance in the things that I do and in this crazy schedule that sort of overtakes my life at times. So I'll come back. Okay, so I want you guys to bear with me here because I want to share some of the lessons that I've learned over the past year. And if you're thinking, MJ, girl, the year just started. We're still in Q1. I get that. I do. But as I mentioned, I work in sports, so my year calendar is a little off from everybody else's. I recalibrate after the Super Bowl, so mid-February kind of starts the new year for me, and it's interesting. But I think last year was it was one of those years that taught me the most, where I felt like I needed to do the most, but not in a way. It was the most purpose-driven that I felt. Have you guys felt that before? Like when you have this feeling that you have to do something, but you also know that you have to protect yourself and protect your energy and protect your peace at all costs. It's an interesting thing to try and reconcile, but I think I'm getting there. So here's what I've learned. Hold on. The coffee's still warm, so. I need one of those things. What are they called? An ember? That keeps it warm on the bottom. We'll get there too. The main thing that it's not that I learned it, but I reminded myself was to trust myself. Trust my gut, trust my intuition, and trust that I know what is best for me. And I think when you have a lot of voices coming at you at the same time, thankfully I have a tremendous team, a tremendous village that surrounds me. And even still, you have to find that moment to only hear one voice. I'm trying meditation. It's very hard. It's very hard. I have 27 tabs open. They all have the sound on. It's a lot. But I think when you just really try to get still and quiet and listen to what you actually want, and more important, what you actually need, you get this clarity that for me has helped me be more creative, more intentional about things, more kind. And by that, I mean more kind to myself and not beating myself up all the time. So I think trusting in myself encapsulates all of those things at the same time. Lean on your people. Oh my gosh, lean on your people. When that phrase, it takes a village, is so true in so many aspects. However, I believe in quality over quantity. My circle is tight. I am cool with a lot of people, but I don't really fuck with everybody. And that's an important distinction. knowing who you let into your space, as well as the spaces that you enter into, is very, very important. And sometimes you have to navigate spaces that you don't want to be in, but they're a necessary evil, if you will. But you can still go in there with an air of confidence and of protection. I lean on the ancestors a lot to protect me when I walk into spaces. Those who get it. You know what I'm talking about. They're always with us at all times. But lean on your people, because the real ones who have been there for you and have showed up for you in the worst of times, they're going to be there in the great times too. When in doubt, do it yourself. Do it yourself. And you'll hear this theme throughout the season of becoming undefined. It was very important to me to create this space for myself. Thankfully, I'm in a blessed position where I can invest in this for me and for us, for our communities, for our platforms, for our voices. But I was very tired of waiting for a yes. I was very tired of waiting for someone to say, oh yeah, that is a good idea. I already know it's a good idea. So just do it. And it doesn't have to be a large scale. If it's just one step, turn on the camera, open your notebook, pick up a pen, get down on your knees if that's what you need, prayer. I'm not a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. And sometimes the impetus to start something can start from a moment of faith or not. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe your faith is in you. Yes, follow that. Follow that. If all of your faith is in yourself, as it should be, do that. But just start and stop waiting. Stop waiting. There's a way to do it, even at the lowest cost level, I promise. And the biggest lesson was that patience is the toughest yet most important part of the process. Patience is the toughest, but the most important part of the process. I just want to say it again so you hear me. And so I hear myself because I am reminding it. We can't control timing sometimes. I can set up the shoot. I can book everybody. I can set everything up actually, my husband does the spreadsheets. Bless him. And we can have everything to a T. And then catastrophe could strike, as we saw here in Los Angeles earlier this year, right? We don't know what's coming. All you can do is be prepared and ready to show up for yourself and have patience. I used to think that when things went wrong, oh, it's a sign that I shouldn't be doing this. And all that was the back of my mind trying to trick me into finding an excuse and finding a reason not to do something. I was just delayed for 12 hours the other day. Delayed but not denied. We made it home. They never canceled the flight. So I'm taking that as an omen, right? And sometimes things do get delayed. But I have found that when things are a no, it's a no. It's not just a sign. It's a neon sign and glowing lights that will tell you, right? But it's easier, and I won't speak for all of you. I'll only speak for myself. I think it can be easier to say, maybe this is a reason not to do something. Patience. That all ties in together. All of it. Okay, so I would love to hear some of your stories. This is your call to action. What are the lessons that you have learned over the years? Because even as I'm sitting here talking to you, like these things are happening in real time. These are just bullet points, you guys, like full transparency. It's not a script. They're just bullet points of things that I want to discuss with you. And sometimes I'm working it out, most of the time. I'm working it out in real time with all of you guys. Is this therapy? Are we in therapy together? I love that for us. But yes, give me your feedback. Give me your lessons. I think the more we talk, the more that we intersect, we can learn so much from each other and help each other out. Listen, we need it. We need community now more than ever. So let me know. Send me your lessons. Send it in the comments or put it in a DM. I'm here for you. We got this. And it's going to be awesome. The rest of the year, wherever your year starts, by the way. It doesn't have to be January. Forget January 1st. Okay, please. She came and she went quickly with no regard for any of us. All right. In an apocalyptic fashion. So the year can start whenever you determine that it does. Time is a construct anyway, but that's another conversation. Don't worry, I won't go off the rails entirely. Send me your lessons. That would be great. Thank you guys for hanging with me in this Cafecito Conversation. We have so much more to share with you. Coming up next week on Becoming Undefined, I am joined by my primas, Julissa Calderon and Alicia Pascal Peña. It is a full Dominicana party. Here is a sneak peek at that episode. How the hell are y'all on, like, how do you date?
Damn, I just like got hot.
I know. It's
like immediately I started sweating. Like, Angie, you ain't tell me you want to talk about this girl.
Julissa, you go ahead, you go.